Welcome back at my channel, and today we're going to talk about good touch, bad touch, but not at the way that you normally think we would talk about it. I'm going to give you two distinctions on how to talk to your children about sex and touching and bad touch, good touch, and then I'm going to give you some tips at the end to make sure that you know what to do and how to do it. It's actually 3 specific things that you should do and should explain to your children when it comes to good touch, bad touch. So listen up to the end. Remember to click that subscribe button, and I publish new videos every week, so make sure you subscribe to my channel. Now let's talk about good touch, bad touch. Good touch, bad touch needs to start with a basic understanding between the distinction that I want to make about how we refer to our child's body parts. So we tend to talk about private parts. Now I want us to discern or make a distinction between special parts and private parts. Now we all were raised with saying our private parts, and that's where I want to challenge you today to think about it differently. So I went out and have a look at the definition of private, and I looked up a few synonyms for private, and I came up with this. So private means it's belonging to or for the use of one particular person or group for their use only, or private satisfaction. That's another word that the dictionary use. Or confidential. And then synonyms that I saw was hush hush, personal, secret, exclusive, and off the record. Now that's private. Now there's also good words. One of the synonyms for private is actually special. Now special, when you go and look up special, there's a difference. And that's why I want us to make a distinction between special and private. Because if we explain to our kids your private part and it's private, we don't talk about it, and somebody touches them there, it's private. It's hush hush. It's a secret. And that's why I don't want us to talk about private parts, but rather special parts. What does special mean? Special mean in a noun, it's a thing that is designed or organized for a particular occasion or purpose. Now, that, if you think about sex, it has been designed for a particular purpose or occasion. Okay, now we're talking. Now when we talk to our kids, we want to say, God designed sex beautifully for the occasion in marriage and for the purpose of having kids, of having intimacy, and of having pleasure. That's good, eh? There's 3 reasons for sex: pleasure, intimacy, and to have babies. And that's a good thing. Can you see how positive the conversation is going, rather than just saying, it's private, we don't talk about it. Or it's just for private, meaning, okay, I can touch myself, I can masturbate, I can watch pornography as long as it's done privately. Now that's not the message that we want to give out to our kids. We want to say, our body, your body is so special. And we want to keep that special for an occasion and for a specific purpose in the future. And that's why we want to talk to you about bad touch, good touch, because if something is special, we don't want anybody to touch it. So how I explain this to my kids, and when I work with young kids, especially the younger ones, 8-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and even younger than that. I done this specifically with my daughter in the house. We have Royal Albert, that is very special cups, Royal Albert China, and I actually inherited that from my mother-in-law, so it's a really special cups, and that's in our kitchen in a special cupboard. So I took it out and I said, we're going to have tea today with this set of Royal Albert China. And my daughter knew, oh no, this is very special, and we're not allowed to touch it. So I said, yes, it's special, but today I'm going to have a special occasion with you and we're going to have tea together. But first, before we can do that, we need to wash it. So now, be careful. My heart was pounding. I gave her the cups to carry to the basin to wash it so that we can have tea together. So as we were washing the dishes or washing the special cups, we explain when it's something is special, we handle it with care. And because we handle it with care, we're keeping it for that special tea we're going to have. And the same way, your body is special. The parts that are covered by your bathing costume, okay, that is your special parts, and that's for nobody to touch. And you want to keep that special for your husband one day. And that's how I actually turned a conversation about teacups to about sex. And my daughter knows that this is special. So, and she knows we're keeping her body special for her husband one day. And how we do that is not just to play with it ourselves or let anybody else touch there. We actually say, this is my special parts that I keep for a special occasion one day. Okay, so that's our first distinction today, is special versus private. So nobody touch your special parts, okay? That means that it's special, we talk about it. Now, this is why I have a second distinction we want to make. We want to make a distinction between natural and ordinary. Now, this is a natural development of your body as your child is growing older. It's natural to feel the desires to have sex, okay? It's natural for going through puberty. That's natural, and we should talk to our kids about it so that they don't feel scared. But it's not an ordinary conversation. It's not an everyday conversation. It's not for everybody to touch there. Okay, so that's why it's special. It's natural to have questions and wonder about it and feel some things in your body changing and feel desires. And we're always going to talk about it, but it's not ordinary conversation. It's natural, but not ordinary. Okay, so that's our second distinction. So now, why did I set you up with all this information? Because if we don't have that background with our kids, it's hard to talk to them about how, if somebody is approaching them that is a sexual abuser or somebody that is not having the best intentions for your children. And especially when they're young, they think that everybody is nice. Now, what do we do as parents? We think we warn our kids, don't go and talk to strangers. And that's fantastic, we should do that. But we don't tend to think about the nieces, the nephews, the uncles, the aunts, because we believe that everybody is good. But we need to teach our children that when your body is special, the way a person touch me needs to be appropriate, okay? If I feel uncomfortable and not at ease, there's something wrong. Then somebody is invading my special areas in my life. So we should know that we need to talk to our kids about this. Now, one very important thing is we talk about the special or private parts, however you've done it, at least you've done it, so it's good. All right, nobody allowed to touch it there. But you need to know that sexual predators, they don't just start out always by touching their special parts. They start with caressing the shoulders or touching their hairs, a teacher in the class, a Sunday school teacher, a good uncle, a friend, or something like that. So it starts out maybe with an uncomfortable brushing of the hair or touching the face or touching their thighs. So you need to talk about the distinction between caressing, even if it's not on their special parts, but it's caressing that makes them feel uneasy. Okay, so that's important. So this is where I'm going to give you the 3 tips. So here's the 3 things that you need to make sure you support your children with when it comes to good touch, bad touch. The first thing is we need to define it. Like I explained to you now, if it's just the special parts and we only focus there, a child that are being pursued by a predator might be touched by inappropriately in different parts, not just the special parts. So we need to define it, and we need to explain to our children, you will feel uneasy. That person will normally do it when you are alone or when other people is not watching. All right, that is the first thing. So you make sure you tell your child inappropriate caressing or touching by people you know is also important. So make sure that you explain especially to a younger child, we don't want to freak them out, appropriate handshake, a high five, a mom or dad bathing the kids, quickly bathing them, drying them off, putting on clothes, a mommy changing a diaper. Those type of things are okay. A doctor examining you with your parents present, that is all fine. That you might feel uncomfortable when a doctor examines you, but I will be there. It's when it's done in secret, when it is done when you feel uncomfortable, And when it's anything done in secret or privately, that is when you need to talk to your parents. So the first one is to define it. Then the second one is to warn them by asking them. All right, so this is some of the scary parts. So we sometimes as parents don't think about, we should actually come straight out and ask our kids. So when they come from, for example, the gymnastics exercise, ask them, when the coach is helping you do the backflip, where does he touch you? Do you feel uncomfortable? How do you feel when you do that? Okay, make sure to have a check in. Ask at Sunday school, what happened today? Were you all just in the same class? No, I wanted to go to the bathroom. Who went with you? Ask them, all right? I explain to my kids, you don't go alone with the Sunday school teacher to their car, to anybody. Because the thing is, when these things happen, it's with the people they trust. And we want to make sure that they know when something is inappropriate. So I would come straight out and ask, do you understand the difference, okay, between a good touch and bad touch? We don't want to make them suspicious. We're just checking in, okay? Check in with your kids on a regular basis. Then the second, one more important part about asking. One of the biggest concerns I have these days when I work with kids and parents is that there is the older adults caressing and touching children inappropriately, but I've got a lot of teenagers or older women that I work with where the older nephew or the older brother or niece or nieces or sisters actually touch their brothers and sisters or nieces or nephews or friends inappropriately. Because what happens is that you are at a family occasion and this older nephew are showing them stuff. Remember, one of the good touch, bad touch is if somebody shows you pornography, that's also sexual abuse. Now, we don't tend to think about it when it comes to children showing each other naked photos of things. All right, that is actually when children are exposed to pornography and stuff like that, they are much easier to be vulnerable to sexual abuse. So we don't want them to be exposed by their friends. Now, even their friends and their family members, they might not be evil, but maybe their parents didn't talk about that. And the thing is, pornography became so ordinary in everyday life. It's just everybody is watching and it's so part of our life that they don't understand that this is not okay. So I have this one lady, she was molested by her older nephew and she was 8. And he was pinning her down on the floor in the grass when they were playing outside. And he actually kissed her and he touched her and she never told anybody. And how sad is this? And nobody knew that, we just think about that filthy old guy. We need to help show our kids and ask them, remember, is friends showing you naked pictures? Remember, we're not watching that. You need to teach your children that even inappropriate images show to them, because then they show them how to touch them. They teach each other. Boys teach boys how to masturbate. Maybe watching one of my masturbation videos. But that's also things that you want to talk to them about, because even if they're not being molested, they are being groomed to actually start thinking about sexual things that are not special anymore. Because if you think about all these things, then it's not a special event or occasion one day. All right, and then the last one, a plan for your kids if it happens. So you need to tell your child, you will not be in trouble if something bad happens. It's not your fault. But if it happens, give your child the power to say, what should I do? So first you say no, loudly and aggressively. The second thing is you come and tell me. You are always welcome to tell me and you will not be in trouble. And then parents, very important, when you say you won't be in trouble, don't overreact. First focus on your child, because what we tend to do is we overreact, go and scream at whoever were involved or go to the principal or whoever before we hear the story from our kids. And then if we overreact and they are exposed again, our child will be scared because look what mom did last time. If I tell her now again, she's going to freak out. So rather stay calm. We need to take action, but don't overreact in that moment. Breathe, get some help, okay? And make sure you support your child first. So in today's session, we learn about two very important distinctions. special parts versus private parts, natural versus ordinary, and then the 3 important steps you need to take to make sure your child is protected when it comes to people touching them inappropriate. So the first one is give it a definition. Make sure they understand what is inappropriate touch. The second one is ask. All right, make sure you ask your children, just by the way, don't make a big fuss about it, but by the way, in conversations when they weren't with you, make sure and have a check-in. And then lastly, give them a plan. Say hard no, scream, be loud, come and tell somebody, and you don't, very importantly, don't overreact. So if remember these things when it comes to talking to your child about good touch, bad touch. I know this is not very comfortable and it's a scary conversation, but you need to have this conversation and have it a little bit more continuously, especially with that check-ins, to make sure your children are safe. Thanks for listening today, and I hope to see you soon again.